So I'm moving on to the next one, the next issue, the issues in public realm. So this is the next category. Okay, this is the next category. So yeah, it's issues in the public realm. So it's the issue of nonverbal. Some of our children are nonverbal. When I say nonverbal, what I mean is some of our children cannot talk. They cannot talk. Vamwe vana abakone kutaura. Do you not non-verbal? Some children cannot speak. They do not have speech. They may make sounds, but they do not have speech. Or they may have selective mutism. Vamwe vana vanogona kusarudza pavanoda kutaura, but havakwanisi kutaura pace, like vanogona kusarudza apa handisi kuda kutaura, then vanotaura pavanenge vafila kuti varoda kutaura. So what I'm saying is some children have selective mutism. Okay. So in the public, when you go out in public, like some people are not aware that that person cannot speak. You can still speak to them, but they won't respond to you like with words. They might just look at you, or they might smile at you, or they might just like, oh, what the heck? You know. So yeah, but they do hear. They are not deaf. That's the thing with autism. They're actually not deaf, but they cannot speak. Like some of them, not all children on the autistic spectrum are nonverbal. It's just some of them who are nonverbal. So imagine you're out on the streets and someone is like, oh, hey, I like your dress, or something like that. Then they don't respond or anything. Someone might take offense and say, what's wrong? Why are you not responding? But they don't know that this is the situation. And autism, sometimes it's invisible and they can't see anything odd or different. They just like see a pretty girl. They don't know that she cannot talk. Then they were like, why is she ignoring me? So sometimes it helps if you're the person who's accompanying your daughter or that person. Just say, look, she's nonverbal. She's not able to speak. Okay, case closed. Simple. But then there's also Makaton. Makaton is sort of like a sign language, which you can actually learn. I'm sure you can find that online. There's a lot of resources when it comes to Makaton. Makaton is like a sign language which is used for autistic kids. Some children are able to learn this Makaton, you know, but then obviously some children, it really depends on how the level of understanding that child will have. It's not exactly the thorough British Sign Language, which deaf and mute people use. This is more like a lighter or a simpler version of sign language. Excuse me. So some members of the public are not going to know Makaton, but sometimes it helps if you, as the parent, learn Makaton, teach your child Makaton, and then maybe communicate with them, even when you're in public. So you're like, you know, come by, you know, I can't remember some of them off guard, but, you know, I know it's like beautiful, like that, beautiful, like that. And I know my daughter does some of them, but to be honest, I haven't really bothered to learn because we have our own way of communicating. My daughter, sometimes my children, what we do, they grab my hand. Come, take me. They grab my hand, and then I take them, I follow them, maybe to the fridge. But if you're in public places, they can grab my hand. They just want to hold my hand, or they say, come, let's go and see this. Like, they're not saying it, but you know that's what they're saying. Like, that's the intention. So they grab your hand and you know, they try to pull you and take you to the place that, you know, like, look, this. Sometimes they can point and say this. So that's how we learn to communicate with them. Yeah, pointing, grabbing your hand, even using your hand as a tool to take or fetch something for them. That's one of the ways we communicate when it comes to nonverbal autistic person. Okay, so yeah, then in public places again, some kids have an aversion to noise, loud noises, loud music, loud praying, loud singing, loud talking. You know us Africans. When we meet our friends, blah, 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 how are you doing? And my son hates loud talking. He hates it. And he can come in, he's like, he'll slap you because it's irritating him. Yes, he's 7. And I know for some people it's like, what? You let a 7-year-old hit like you? What? No, that's not acceptable. No, the thing is, it's triggered him. It's triggered. That sound has gone in, just like triggered him. To him, it's noise. That's why sometimes you go out to places and there's just a loud noise, and your child is triggered because they cannot tolerate high sound frequencies coming through to their ears. Sometimes my son is always like holding his ear like this. Sometimes some children have the earmuffs for sound. My son should have. I got him one, but he doesn't want to wear it. Some children may be tolerant. You can get those on Amazon, eBay, even online. The earmuffs, if your child is intolerant to sound. How do you know if they're intolerant to sound? Well, it's not nothing to be diagnosed. You just see that your child doesn't like sound. Sometimes they do this with their hands in their ears. They don't want that sound. Just put, you can even go to the doctor, get a consultation. But normally, it's a simple thing. It's just try. They might tolerate the earmuffs, they might not. But they may have an intolerance to loud noises. Oh, and then some of the things your child may do, they might get overexcited when they're out in public, and then they do the hand gestures. You know, autism, some children do hand gestures. Sometimes they do the hand flapping, flap, 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 or they rub their arms, or they just do they're different ways they do hand gestures. So sometimes they're getting overexcited. Sometimes it's a sensory thing. So, you know, you just have to be alert and be able to tell, like, if your child starts doing that, are they being agitated, or are they seeking attention, or are they getting excited, or, you know, what could possibly be stimulating that. Okay, and then there's the mooing sound. Like sometimes in public, your child makes sounds. Maybe they're nonverbal, and then they make the mooing sound. Some people call it the mooing sound, like with humming, you know. So that's one of the sounds that they make. Or they could be giggling excessively, like, you know, my son likes to giggle excessively, or even the high pitch scream. A high pitch scream. They scream so loud, it's so sharp and so loud, it's piercing. That's another thing. So out in public, your child sometimes might feel free and they just do this. So it's nothing. When you see a child doing this, it's not an issue where you should be shocked or like surprised. Just know that possibly child is possibly autistic. Okay. So out in public again, remember we're still under the issues in the public realm. There's the issue of toileting. Don't be surprised, you know, some children may still wear Pampers or pull-ups even when they're older. 7 years, 15 years, they may still wear pull-ups even when they're older. So some children have incontinence issues, and when they go out, you need to make sure you have all the things that you need, be it the incontinence pull-up pads, the incontinence mats, change of clothes, wipes, disposables, what do you call the sanitary gels, water. If you're in Zimbabwe, sometimes you might need to be carrying water, if you need to, the various equipment that you need. Even symbols. Sometimes maybe you communicate with your child using symbols. So for toileting symbols, maybe it could be a card with a toilet on the card. So when your child sees that, or when your child may have it, you may give it to your child, and your child will point and say, I want this, meaning they want to go to the toilet. Maybe they can actually use the toilet, but they need to communicate that to you, and then you need to take them to the toilet. So sometimes having that symbol as well. So it really depends on the capacity of your child, where they are at what stage are they, and then that could be useful as well. That way you're also managing this issue of toileting. Right. So before you travel with your autistic child, you have to plan the issue of toileting. Where are you going to take them to the toilet? Are there toilets available the place where you're going? So you have to, that's the thing with us parents of autistic children. We have to plan the issue of toileting for example, I have to plan the issue of toileting when I take my kids out. Every time I have to think that if I go to this place, where will I take my child to the toilet? How, etc., etc. You see, so it's different from another family who's like, the child was just like, I want to go to the toilet, and then our situation is different. We have to do a lot of further planning every single time, even just to go to the shop. You have to calculate how long will the distance. Will my child need the toilet in that distance? So sometimes what we do is, if we're traveling for a longer distance, what you do is, before you go, your child will go to the toilet. As soon as you arrive, your child will go to the toilet. Can you see? You, as a parent of autistic children, you have to be accurate. Basically, you have to be a planner, a good planner. Okay, so then the issue of mobility. Some children have mobility issues. They have autism, and then they have mobility issues. So some children may have trouble walking long distances. Then some children, there's a case where it's called toe walking. Kufamba netsoka. Have you seen? You can Google it, or even go on YouTube and look. Toe walking. It's where your child walks on their toes. Some children, like on the toe. Sorry, I can't lift my foot. I can't lift my foot to show it. It's toe. So they're literally walking on their toes. Yeah. So please, if you see someone doing that, don't think they're looking for attention, and stop giving them strange looks. It's called toe walking. There are some children who do it, and some children stay like that for some time. I don't know. They do go for some treatments, I suppose, but I don't know how effective. But I know that special shoes are also sometimes made for those children, because they walk on their toes. They can run on their toes. They're not seeking attention. It's something about the structure of the legs. I cannot, obviously you do some more research if you want to know more about that. Okay. Then there's the issue of some children can't walk long distances, and then some children need to be carried. I know in Zimbabwe, some people can afford a car. Some people cannot afford a car, and it may need to carry, depending on the age of the child, the weight. I know carrying your child is a common thing in Zimbabwe, and in Africa. It's nothing strange. Then others use the buggy the the buggy, but then there are different sizes. There could be buggies for obviously typical for the children, the young children. Then there's the buggies as they grow older. There's specialist buggies, my push specialist push buggies. Yeah, so not wheelchairs exactly, but kind of like just buggies for mobility. Then you can, they're used to push the child around if they have those mobility issues. When we talk about mobility, again, we're talking about accessing ramps. I don't know where we are, what the scope in Zimbabwe, where are we when it comes to wheelchair access? And then, yeah, I did mention wheelchair safety, that they should abolish those wheelchairs that have chains, because some children are losing their fingers when children will always be children, and they will touch those chains and lose their fingers. Okay. Then the issue again, the last one when it comes to issues in public is food. Food. Is your child going to be hungry when you go out? So you're going to prepare a food for them before you go out. Some children only want hot food, like my son, he only wants hot food. If you go out and you don't have hot food, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want sandwiches. He doesn't want some of the takeaways. He does not want that. He wants his rice hot, his vegetables, green vegetables hot. So all these things are issues to consider when you have children with autism. Okay. What is their diet like? And yeah, what is his food preference? Okay, so yeah, ensure you know what your child will eat. Sometimes you go out, your child is going to be very hungry, and when they are hungry, they're going to be agitated, and then you're going to have another problem. Okay, so I don't know, I think I'm going to go on because I've got a few more.